Welcome to Shaky Town. I'm Gene.
I'm
Across, across the aisle from me, like we're is Siskel and Ebert. And yeah,
they
how's
were
it
a pain.
going?
They were quite a pain.
Yeah, those outtakes. If you ever watch those outtakes on the YouTubes where they're at each other's throats, and it's hilarious. Roger Ebert is just like giving Gene Siskel absolute fucking hell, and then Siskel's like, like, "Fuck you, fuck you, Ebert." Not quite that, but pretty fucking close.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to week one of the Trump administration.
We're in the first 100 hours of the administration,
Oh boy.
and a lot has happened. I'm sure more will happen by the Monday that this is airing. Um, Obviously, we know what Elon Musk did. It was a salute. It wasn't.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. That seems super normal. Seemed like a super normal thing for a super normal dude to do.
I'm so glad that I'm not working for a company anymore that sells his product, and therefore I'm not allowed to say anything bad about him because I have plenty of bad to say about him. I'm still on his Twitter, that is to say, his platform. I don't follow him,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
although at this point I have more of a following on Blue Sky, and it'll be easier to turn that off when I'm ready to turn the Twitter off. But
So are you gonna turn your see? Here's my thing, because I finally found a free tool to redact my Twitter account and I deleted 45,000 tweets dating back to 2008 or whenever I joined it. Here's my problem with getting rid of Twitter. I haven't been on. I accidentally clicked a link in something that somebody posted on Blue Sky or something, and it went to X Twitter, and I felt like I stepped in a hot pile of dog shit. That's how Twitter makes me feel when I go there. Like I don't go there. I don't think I've interacted intentionally, except for maybe DMs from you. I don't think I've interacted with anyone that's posted anything since like November. And but here's my thing about I redacted my Twitter account. I I redacted my Facebook account. Um, I'm on Instagram. I don't know what to do about that per se, but deleting it completely, I don't want some chud taking my Gene George name on shit Twitter.
right,
I don't want some chud taking my Gene George name on Facebook. Like so I'm just gonna redact. I put, billionaires are a policy failure, and fuck off, Nazis fuck off, and my banners, and deleted as much as I could without, having people untag me from photos and shit on Facebook. So that's my thought is I'm not gonna do anything on there. There's nothing there for AIs to train. It's just me, a stub of me flipping the bird to Kuckerberg and Erplarp Merpsk and his fucking Nazis. But I don't necessarily want to nuke the site from orbit because I don't trust them to not gin up. This is as close as I'm ever going to come to conspiracy theories, but
yeah,
I'm not. I don't trust them not to gin up AI grassroots bullshit with dead usernames.
of
Like
course.
I don't, given how those assholes work and have worked and have seen what we see in the open air, in front of God and everybody, I don't trust them not to do shit like that. So I'm gonna keep my shit. I'm gonna squat on my names and do nothing for them, give them no, you know, eyeballs on their bullshit. But I'm not gonna delete everything. I get deleting everything. I'm totally down with it. But I don't know. I feel like I want to at least have, you know, eyeballs on it.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think that's totally fair. I haven't seen anybody pressure other folks,
Yeah.
that for themselves they want to delete their profiles, and that's fine. I
Yeah.
will stay parked. and like I said, I still use the platform to some degree, especially promoting stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, but like the number of views I get do not really justify like me trying to champion the cause to revive or uh, somehow try to fix the platform. Like it's just
Rehabilitate it.
you knew
De,
I was
de,
struggling for the word rehabilitate.
denazify. Denazify, frankly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's going to be like 10 people who would miss me if I logged off entirely. There's like a friend I have who has a wild schedule that you and I would not ever believe, and like the only way we ever get to chat at all is like the occasional DM in Twitter. So I like that's
Yeah.
there a strong reason why I'm like I'll just keep this so we could still
Yeah.
can until they switch platforms, which
Yeah.
but anyway, that's to say like the utility I get from it, just like any other utility or function of this society that probably somebody crappy is at the top of the chain. There's no ethical consumption under capitalism, and that applies to social media. So I don't think anybody should beat themselves up too hard for still keeping their
Yeah.
Twitter, Facebook. But I think there's a lot of creative and activist folk who are on Blue Sky now, and you know, uh, kind of pivot a little bit as far as video content. TikTok is back, but some people are saying it's weird. I haven't seen any of the weirdness to it. I've seen more of the weirdness like on Instagram, where on Instagram I'm getting right-wing ads that I didn't get before.
Yeah.
Uh, like stuff sponsored posts by CPAC or PragerU. I'm way more suspicious of that than anything I'm seeing on TikTok.
Yeah.
Uh, but Blue Sky will apparently have a thing for video content. All our stuff is up here on YouTube, and as far as I know, I don't know if anybody has problems with Google or YouTube. I'm sure somebody does, but
Yeah. I mean, I don't, yeah, I've never had the tickety talks, so I don't have a horse in that race, but, and I, Insta's kind of where I'm torn about, because I get like Twitter, I interact with a few people on there that I don't necessarily interact with outside of there. So, and I also feel like given, the stuff that we're doing here and the little short form stuff that I'm doing on YouTube, Insta is a little bit better for that. Um, but yeah, I kind of like everything. Yeah, everything does suck about, there's no way you're doing good on any of this stuff. So I don't know. Mr. Beast is going to buy TikTok. That's the rumor my son was telling me again. My son, my source for all Mr. Beast news.
yes.
Like,
Is he watching Beast Games? We started to talk about
oh
that.
my gosh, he got his mom to watch that with him, and I was like, no, thank you, no. Oh, but it's cool. It's like Squid Games. I'm like, you know that that's not a good thing, right? Like, I mean, I guess they don't murder people, so I guess it's slightly better, but like, yeah, no, no,
wait
no,
till they
thank you,
wait till they find out about Russian roulette.
right? Running Man, that's what we need. Start pitching the Running Man.
Yeah. Speaking of competition, let's talk a little bit about Unrivaled Basketball, which
Oh, yes, yes.
set
Let's.
set a record on TNT Sports for highest rated viewing women's basketball. And it's interesting watching that because it's 3-on-3. So you don't have a lot of folks, if you're a player that you can depend on.
Right, right, right.
You're Everybody's got to take their shot. So you're seeing a lot more uh, shooters taking their shot. As there's some passing, but like a lot less passing.
Who you gonna pass to?
Yeah, but you see how some people's game is different, or it kind of exposes like the where they need to improve. And it's just weird seeing who's kind of emerging as the stars of that. Like my club that I'm following is Phantom because it's got Brittany Griner, it's got Sabrina Ionescu, who's on the Liberty, and they haven't won a game. Like they and it's
Wow.
you got the Olympia, you have like Olympian
Yeah,
gold
yeah, 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 yeah.
on this team, and they're so the funny thing is like when once you get to the third quarter or to the fourth quarter, if my team's got 70 and you've got 50, we add 11 to the highest score. So my team only has to get to 81. We only need 11 more points. But your sad ass team at 50 points has to climb
That's
31 more
rough,
points.
dude.
Yeah.
No, why?
The
That seems
fourth
like
quarter
it should be the
quit.
back. That's bass backward sounding.
And some teams have come back from that deficit or they weren't that far behind. If it was
All right.
75 to 70, they were able to get past
Yeah.
that point deficit and make it. But like, yeah, there's some clear winners and clear losers, and it's at a weird time in the WNBA where like there's all these unrestricted free agents.
Hmm.
People are talking because Brittany Griner stopped following the Mercury on Instagram, and her wife stopped following Mercury on Instagram, and people are like, "Oh, they're done with the organization. She's moving to Texas to play for the Wings, or she's moving to Vegas to play for the Aces, and she's done with the Mercury. Taurasi might be retiring. That team's going to look totally different. Kennedy Carter, who was the Chicago Sky's top scorer last season,
Also,
uh,
also two presidents.
yes, she's made it clear, or they've made it clear they're not welcoming her back, and so you have this situation like when Barkley came to the Suns in the '90s as this controversial character where she could join a team and just become like their lead scorer and take them to the championships and become a hero if she can manage not to get arrested, thrown out
Right.
of the game,
Not to fall on her face.
or have all of conservative white media,
Yeah,
talk about
yeah,
what
yeah,
she
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because she'll throw down and has, as we talked about with Caitlin. So yeah, it's this weird time where I don't know what the WNBA will look like in a couple of months and who's going to be on what team and the Valkyries, the extension team. But like, yeah, it's an exciting time. And then you have this weird microcosm of like the top 35 players or 36 players in the league where you get to see like, oh, the greats aren't playing as great as you thought they would. And some other people might.
Yeah, in a very restricted kind of format.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I've seen this happen before. When I started playing paintball years and years ago, paintball was what you think of when most people think of when they think of paintball, which is going out into the woods and shooting each other with paintball guns. Um, but as I started to get out of it, um, and this the Speedball came along, this game called Speedball, unfortunately named Speedball, where it's a much smaller field. And there are obstacles.
Yeah.
So they play a lot of that now, tournament paintball, and it's a very similar situation where people and teams that were good running around in the woods were not necessarily good with speedball. And it was a very similar situation where people you thought would be dominant would be mediocre at best. So yeah, that's fascinating to me.
Yeah. Definitely worth checking out if you can watch a game. They're short games, they're an hour because
Right.
those three quarters go by fast,
Yeah.
and fourth quarter can be over, in a couple
See,
possessions.
this is why there's a lot of, some sports are about endurance and precision. I think basketball is one of those, hockey, soccer, those kinds of sports. But I've always said basketball feels to me like the last 10 minutes of a game, if it's close, is really the thing. Like have both teams like run like 20 laps around, just run flat out sprints before the game and then play a 10-minute game of basketball.
Yeah.
Like the format feels very much like, unlike baseball, which is slow and kind of not boring, but it has a very steady pace, where you could decide a game in the first inning, you could decide a game in the ninth inning. Basketball always has felt to me like, it's 107 to 111, like just have, first one to 5 points wins. Like it kind of, That's how it feels to me, and maybe Unrivaled is very similar to that because it's so fast paced and so tight.
Yeah. If you want to see intense basketball, watch a grade school recreation game, a recreation league game with
Yeah,
referees who get into arguments with the parents. Because without getting anybody in trouble, I will say that I've had some very interesting experiences watching my kid play, and the refs do make a difference. They can have it out for somebody. I've seen them like throw kids out of games, and it's like, great, only like six of the parents can make it today, and you just threw out the sixth kid, and now like it's going to be these five the whole time against that
yeah,
dude's team of like 12 kids that he managed to have uh, carry over their membership onto the team this new season. Like, yeah, there's some messy things that happen, and especially when it's somebody's kid out there like getting elbowed, like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
start to hear
Full
shout.
on, full on fouled.
Yeah, yeah. I've only had one incident with my son where like a girl like threw him, and
Full
they,
on body checked him. Very,
yeah, yeah. She towered over all of the kids, and she just
yeah,
like whoop, and they stopped her, and he got to shoot his free throw or whatever. But like, you know, he has managed to stay out of the fray to a big extent and just like do his job, and so I'm proud of him for that.
yeah.
And
It's the
he's
way.
playing school football, and so that's been fun to watch too. That's a lot more mellow for some reason. Everybody there seems to be just having fun.
Huh, interesting. Find that interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what else happened this week? I know the Oscar nominations came out. I have to admit I don't follow them as closely anymore.
Yeah, I just kind of like I don't even you could just completely I watched an interesting clip of Tilda Swinton talking about um getting interviewed coming out of like Oscar parties and just making up names of movies
Yeah.
and names of actors and actresses that are in those movies. That's kind of how I feel because she's like, have you seen like, It Goes On Forever with, Sponge McWhirter? Like, oh, it's a riveting performance. And that's kind of how the whole Oscar season feels to me is like if you put a gun to my head and asked me to name three Oscar movies, I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I just guess you're gonna have to kill me. Um, like I could probably try and figure some, but like I'm so checked out of it. I'm so checked out of it. Um, yeah, no, and I'm trying to think of like I'm sure I could probably say Beetlejuice because I'm 100% sure it's been nominated for some effects or music or something award.
I don't think
You
it
know,
was. I didn't see it come up. I mean, I could be wrong. The one that everybody I
it's
knew,
got to be a makeup or a costume or an FX. We could probably look it up, but
I'm gonna look
but
right now. I'll
but
tell you that people are excited that I know about The Substance, like actually getting a horror movie getting nominated. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's not uncommon. I've made this argument online many times to the people who say like, "Oh, horror has been in the doldrums since the '90s," or it's not. It's a garbage genre. It's like no, like look at this history through every
yeah,
decade, every year of box office, of nominations. It's like any other genre. There's a spectrum of like total schlock, which still can be fun. And then like,
yeah.
movies that I mean Nosferatu got snubbed, I think, across the board, but yeah, The Substance has like best movie, best director, best actress, all that good stuff this
Yeah,
year.
I think it has to be there's kind of a confluence of um it can't be too deep in the genre, but I think the substance from what I've seen gets pretty, there. But there's a lot of those horror movies that are really kind of they're on the more thrillery side,
Yeah,
that I think are a lot easier for audiences and give people when people don't think of it necessarily as a horror movie.
right.
Um, or the horror is more existential than explicit or gory or that kind of thing. I would
Yeah.
be super surprised if Beetlejuice wasn't nominated for some kind of technical Oscar.
I think maybe best makeup and hairstyling. It doesn't look
Yeah.
like it got
No,
any.
no filmic cinema. Yeah, but those that's kind of like always I feel like at least they get those sorts of awards or noms for um you know doing genre stuff
Yeah.
because the people who do that are generally really good at it.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, The Substance, I think, might be the only Oscar nominated film I saw last year. Because I'm mainly stick with horror for
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
my purposes and the show. I mean, there's a couple animated things that I saw with the kids, things like that.
Oh, what
But
Inside Out 2, or was that this year or was that last year? I
no, I
thought.
don't think they got nominated. But like Wild Robot, that was
Oh, right, right, right.
you know, um, Alien Romulus got nominated for best visual effects, but I've never been a big Alien series person.
Well, I'm a really big Alien series person, and I haven't seen Romulus yet, which is saying so much. Um, yeah, like it is kind of like my son's been doing the would you rathers a lot. That's his kind
Okay.
of thing lately, and so he'll be like, would you rather only be able to watch Alien or Aliens? And I'm like, ooh, that's a tough one. Like, or no, which one that wasn't would you only be, but which one would you want to be able to watch whenever you wanted to, like a movie theater? Like you could just walk into a movie theater and it'd start playing one of those. I'm like Aliens.
Yeah.
I agonized over it a little bit, but Aliens is definitely a better theater movie. Like I feel like in a dark room with a fairly large TV, Alien is probably even better because it's so claustrophobic and that's 90% of the oomph of Alien. But Aliens like is it's an action movie with a bunch of alien shit in it, and that's way I think that's way better, cinematically. And then everything else from there just kind of like slides on a ramp of dog shit, so it eventually piles up into the dog shit at the bottom. Like Alien 3, a good buddy of mine, we were watching some movie and they had the trailer for Alien 3, and um and it was like, what do you mean we have, when Sigourney Weaver says the line in the trailer, what do you mean we have no weapons? And my buddy looked over at me and said, that movie's gonna suck. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. And lo and behold, not a good movie. Not a good alien movie, not a good movie.
I'd be curious about this TV series that the guy from Fargo, not the Coen brothers, mind you,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
the gentleman who made the Fargo series.
Yeah.
I'll have his name in like 5 seconds. He also had
Ed
done
Ed Fargo.
Jay
That's a
Fargo.
guess. That's a guess. That's just a guess.
um, Noah Hawley. So Noah
Yes,
Hawley had
I was right. See?
yes, he did Legion, and he's done like five
Oh
great
yeah, yeah, yeah.
seasons of Fargo. I love Fargo's probably my favorite show nowadays. That's still running, even though it's few and far between seasons. But just such good storytelling, always great casts, always great cinematography, and like um even the COVID season that it was hard for them to shoot, which was like this throwback to the 30s with like Chris Rock as the
Right.
the black mob and uh you know like they managed to piece together I think still a great season. Anyway, he's supposedly doing an Alien series for FX, and so I could imagine like him having a weird take on it and like a cosmic horror kind of take on it, because that just seems he's very much about the magic realism, and
Yeah.
so I could see him doing some cosmic-y horror-y things with Alien.
Yeah, because well, I mean, that's of the stuff that came out of. that second wave of alien flicks, the your Prometheuses, your whatever. Um, I haven't seen Romulus, so I can't say. But whatever the other one was, Prometheus and I don't know, Hotchkapulian. I can't remember. Aliens, Hotchkapulian. Um, uh, the idea that we, that we're genetically derived from however dumb the actual uh thing was, like that is very Lovecraftian in that you just don't understand anything about how the universe works, you puny humans. Your tiny brain's gonna comprehend all of the things going on, and we're just, diddy bopping along going, wee. But yeah, that would be an interesting take on it.
You know who's going to be in the
Um,
cast of
who's
Alien Earth?
who?
Vivian Bastard from The Young Ones.
Nice, nice, nice. Achtung! I want to see him. Yeah, dude. If they had Aid Edmondson, um, if they should just cast, of the remaining. I don't know if the guy who played Mike's still alive, but
Mike
I know.
Person. Yeah, he's around.
Yeah, okay. I know. So you get Nigel Planer and Aid Edmondson. Every 100%. Nigel Planer's been in a bunch of stuff that I've seen, especially British stuff. And every time he comes on the screen, I'm like, I burnt the lentils again.
I
Guys, I've burnt the lentils again. Yeah, yeah. Dude, really? Who's he gonna play?
don't
Who's
know. Probably a
No, it
member of
doesn't.
the corporation that is like
Probably.
the big thing.
Probably.
I was really excited when a few of the guys got cast on SpongeBob, which my kids were watching religiously. Um, they moved on to Gumball for a while. I think they finally got that out of their system after the fifth watch through.
Yeah.
So see what they land on next. But like, yeah, the three of the young ones, and I think Rick Mile at the time when he was because he was still alive, they were like monkeys that were coming to check on
Jesus.
research that the one gal who's a character who wears
A squirrel.
yes, she was doing for them. They were like the monkeys from the research corporation or something.
Right.
Oh yeah, and they made a banana machine. Shows you how much I was paying attention to SpongeBob. But oh god, that reminds me, you know where I'm going with this, right?
No, I don't.
Tom Kenny
Oh,
after
oh,
show, Jay Johnston got pardoned. He's out, baby.
comedy is back. Yeah. Fucking that's a nightmare. That whole thing is a nightmare. Like whatever, you know.
You think he'll go back? You think Jimmy Pesto will be welcome back to Bob's Burgers?
I'm sure they will be like, he will show up with his pardon in hand, and they will say, "Sorry, the position is no longer open." Yeah, no, I don't. Maybe he can get a job on that horrible Adam Carolla, Mr. Bertram show or something.
I used to have his number. I wish I hadn't deleted all that, but I didn't want to get I didn't want to get picked up by the feds
Yeah, yeah, man.
as an
As
accomplice.
an accomplice. Yeah, that's fucking nightmarish, that whole thing. Back to blue. Back to blue. Uh, yeah, so yeah, I knew in the back of my head that he got pardoned in that wave, but I it wasn't something that was I was in the front of my mind.
Yeah.
Um, ugh.
I just will be excited to see where he pops up. I'm sure he'll be interviewed somewhere and it'll be embarrassing.
Oh, I'm sure like RT or some shit, conservative shit rag, the Deutsches Beobachter or something. Will Oh man, I need to start calling. I need to start calling like OAN the Deutsches Beobachter or something. Anyway, I'm already happy that I've started calling the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers the Boy Keepers and the Proud Oafs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing like well, now that everybody's out of jail from the beer hall putsch, Trump can really get the his own essay rolling with those jackholes. Really not I'm not looking forward to having to resort to physical violence in my twilight years.
I'm relieved that I live in a conservative suburb now. I've got protection. I'm good. I don't have to be bothered by it.
Protective coloration.
Yeah. Sucks for the rest of y'all, but
Yeah, whatever's.
no,
Anyway,
I met a lot of my neighbors this last week doing the Girl Scout cookie rounds, and they're
gotcha.
I you know and I was talking specifically about this issue. Oh, actually, I didn't bring it up. A gentleman who I know, a black man who brought up like, yeah, crazy times. He's like, but we got good neighbors here, and I'm glad everybody is pretty chill. I'm like, yeah, I think for the most part. But I live adjacent certainly to some corners of Arizona that I probably will not venture into
Yeah.
that are super.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things that really kind of made me more angry than usual about this nonsense was my I thought it was my son's school district, but my daughter's school district sent out uh the don't talk to the feds,
Yeah.
don't talk to the feds, what to do if ICE comes to your school or home. And then, it's basically like, shut up, shut up, show me the warrant. I'm not talking to you without a lawyer, you know. Am I free to go and then leave? That kind of stuff. And I'm like, if we live in a place where that's a thing that the school district has to send out because our president is bought and paid for by the worst people in the world. You know? Yeah. Yeah.
That's that's
So
that's how we're wrapping up this show and how we're
that's
wrapping up
how we're wrapping it up.
January. But
How we're wrapping up the American empire.
yes, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll do our beginning of February episode here next time, and hopefully have better news for everybody. Um, but yeah, I appreciate you, Gene. I appreciate doing these shows in the new year.
Wicked. There. That's a nominee. Wicked. I just thought of that.
Oh, don't even get me started on a Wicked.
I'm
That
just saying, if you put a gun to my head, I would at least be able to say one.
right.
Cool.
uh, well, until next time, I appreciate
Adios.
and yeah, I'll talk to you soon, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Bye, everybody. Wee.
Shaky Town was created by Brody Hubbard and Gene George. You can find us on various social media platforms under those names. You can also find the show on YouTube at Shaky Town and on Blue Sky at Shaky Town. We also still have accounts on Facebook, X, and Instagram at Shaky Town Radio, or just go to shakytownradio.com.